On the 8th of November 1998, Half-Life was released, and it rewrote the way we do video games. It changed everything about first-person shooters in the sense of adding stories. It showed a way of adding a story without having long cutscenes. It introduced a player into immersion like never before. I don't think there's been a game since Half-Life 1 and 2 that's immersed the player in such a way. I mean, first-person shooters are the most immersive way you can actually become, because you are seeing through your eyes. You see your hands holding the gun. It's not like third-person where you see your whole self, which is totally ridiculous. First-person is the immersion view. There's no arguments there. That it just is. And Half-Life 1 and 2 added to that by giving you a sense of purpose. They give you an identity. They never give you a voice. That was always left to you. You find yourself talking to the other characters that interact with you all through the game, and it was done in such a way that you could be whoever you wanted to be. It was just an amazing experience playing those games. Everything was so good in them, but sadly we've never had a game since that's even come close to that. It seems like games today are just full of flashing things, showing you how to pick them up. The HUD is just awash with markers and arrows and signals telling you, and mini maps and compasses. It's like you have every aid imaginable to get round, and we've lost what really defined PC gaming. Well, not just PC gaming, but gaming in general. And we now have consoles that are capable of producing really good graphics and gameplay, but the games are still all dumbed down. It's almost like the developers of games have no faith in gamers. They think all gamers are shit, and that they need their hand holding all the way through a game, or they'll need a character to run around the game with them, telling them exactly where all the enemies are and exactly what you have to do. And it's made gaming shit, and people have jumped on me a lot because they say, oh, you just hate everything new, which is rubbish. Absolutely. I mean, my game of the year last year was Dishonored 2. I thought that was a fantastic game. Yes, it was awful when it was first released, but it got patched up to a state that's very good now, and it's a fabulous game. It explores new ways of time traveling. I mean, it was done in Titanfall as well, but it's just such a good game. And Prey, that releases later this week, could be the best game made since Half-Life 1 and 2. Now, I mentioned in the news about the lack of a PC demo, and I got suspicious because that generally means a bad port. And Greenman Gaming, who I'm an affiliate of, saw that, and the guy I talked to at Greenman Gaming has kindly said I can use footage that they took from a visit to Bethesda. They were allowed to play the first 3 hours, I believe, of the game, and it was done on a controller, but it was recorded all on a PC. And what he's told me is that the PC version ran flawlessly. It ran really, really well. Now, I have no reason to not believe that. So I've got the footage here. That's what you're actually looking at now. This is the footage of the PC version. Now, he's using a controller. I don't know why, but I guess he's a console player, the guy who recorded this. But this is the PC version of the game. And guys, I have got to say, I am so impressed. The HUD is minimal. It's absolutely minimal. And I'm not going to post any spoilers in this, by the way. There's no big spoilers whatsoever. I've already cut out what I would class as game-breaking spoilers. So there's no spoilers in this. What you've got here is a very minimalistic HUD, which is great. You don't have regenerating health, which is great. But you do have a very immersive story going on here. They've definitely copied or been inspired by Half-Life. Even the beginning, the ride to work, is the ride to work from Half-Life, essentially. And there's a lot of things going on, like the test chamber, and even the monsters in this, the mimics, which are these little things that crawl around the floor, have an uncanny resemblance to the same kind of things in Half-Life. And so you've got to look at this and think, hang on a minute, shall I just get me bell out and just say you've fucking copied? No, I'm not. Because I'm getting the flags out and I'm getting the dancing girls out, because for the first time somebody has actually looked at Half-Life and thought, hang on a minute, we've been going in the wrong direction here. Shouldn't we be emulating pretty much the best game ever written? Well, it looks like now somebody actually has, and I am really excited about this. I'm kind of starting to believe that we are about to get handed to us the best game since Half-Life 2. I mean, this is a risky video that I'm posting because I'm kind of thinking, this looks brilliant, this looks fantastic, and I'm kind of going to get vindicated for all the times that I've hammered AAA games for being lackluster, boring, dumbed down and shit, and people have said, oh, you just hate everything, and it's like, no, I've been waiting for something like this, and it's finally about to be here. And I've never been, genuinely guys, I have never been this excited about a game release for 20 years, because I think for the first time in a long time I'm going to get my hands on a game that I've never played before, and I'm going to be pulled through this immersive, brilliant experience like I did in Half-Life. I've played Half-Life 1 and 2 through 4 or 5 times each, but it's not immersive anymore. I know exactly what happens all the time. You know, it's not the same, but this is a brand new experience. And, you know, I've played probably every first-person shooter ever made, and the vast majority of them are garbage, because you just don't get that immersion. There's always stuff, there's like x-ray vision, there's like regenerating health, there's like a third-person view in it somewhere, there's cutscenes just like in Call of Duty spoiling everything that you do. You know, when I look at Prey, we've got this wrench, which is kind of the crowbar, but we don't have a gravity gun, but instead we have this glue gun, which looks so much fun. You can put out fires with it, you can do all sorts with it. But you know, the best thing that I've seen in this is the mimic, this mimic ability where you can become, by the looks of it, any object. It just looks so good. You can become a plant pot, you can become anything, and then you can run and be that, and I guess you can use that as a stealth mechanic to hide from mimics. But it's reversed as well, because the mimic creatures, they can be any inanimate object too. So you could go on to pick something up that looks like a resource, but it's actually one of these mimics, and then it suddenly just leaps at you. I mean, that's never been done. It reminds me of that Gary's mod, where you have to become something and hide. It's like, I hope there's a mod like that in the multiplayer, because that would be so much fun in this kind of environment. But the whole way the game's been put together, the whole way it looks, you know, you were going to be experimented on by the looks of it, and it's got so many links to Half-Life, but then it's all about you trying to escape and defeat the threat. And the threat looks really, really insanely good. I'm not a fan of the weapon wheel. It seems to pause everything, which kind of sucks at the end of the day. I don't think that the game should do that, but it does. Hopefully for the keyboard, I'll just be able to bind me weapons to keys and never ever use the weapon wheel, so it's not really a thing for PC gamers, I don't think. It better not be anyway, or there will be some going on. I mean, the fact that you've got these things stalking you throughout the whole game, and you've got these things that are hidden in the whole game. You've got this whole crafting method that looks so good, with the whole recycling of raw materials that you find and bringing it, and it's so simple, but you can only do it at these crafting stations. I love all that. I love the minimalistic HUD. I love the fact that the story seems to have been integrated without cutscenes. This looks to me like the kind of game that I would make if I had a big development team behind me. This is the kind of stuff that I would love to make, and I know there's a high chance it's got X-ray vision tucked away in the perk system. You can't have it all, but this has got to be a step in the right direction. Surely this is a step in the right direction, and I really hope it doesn't have X-ray vision, but if it does, it's not the end of the world. I'll just not pick it as a perk. But what the game does show, it looks like people have actually realised that they need to break the mould of these modern games and go back to where it all began with Half-Life 1 and 2. Because that's what I've seen here. That's exactly what I'm seeing here. I'm not seeing anything that looks like a modern game, except the fact of the perk system. Everything else is looking old school in this. Now, it's a shame I can't see how fluid the mouse and keyboard combat is in this, but there's no reason to believe that it's clunky. It doesn't look like it's going to be clunky. So we'll find out, I guess, this week. So I'm going to be doing a full review on this at the end of the week, and I want to thank Greenman Gaming for letting me use their footage. It's really, really nice of them, and it's kind of give me a good look at the game as well. So there you go, guys. I'm hoping this just lives up to what I've seen here. We could be on the verge of the best game in the last 20 years. Let's just keep our fingers crossed.